Previously on Disneylander, I brought you my personal favorite ride from each of the 6 Disney theme parks in the United States. Well, today we're going to be continuing on with that, but we're going to be taking a look at the 6 Disney theme parks outside of the United States, where I will be bringing you my favorite ride in each of those parks. The catch being, I have never actually been to any of the overseas parks, regrettably, so again, these are just my opinions. Don't at me. Kicking this list off with Disneyland Paris. Once upon a time it was Euro Disney, but those days are thankfully long gone. Disneyland Paris was actually the hardest park on this list for me to pick a favorite ride from. The reason being, it is chock full of really great rides. From what I've seen, it has the best version of the classic Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It has the best version of the Haunted Mansion, being Phantom Manor, but I had to go with Big Thunder Mountain. Disneyland Paris has the best version of Big Thunder Mountain. Again, from what I've seen, I've never been on it. In our previous list, I said Big Thunder Mountain was my personal favorite ride at the Magic Kingdom in Florida, but Disneyland Paris's version looks even better. The biggest, coolest thing about it is that the ride is on essentially the equivalent of Tom Sawyer's Island in Disneyland. It's out there in the water, and from the land, it doesn't look like there is a direct way to get to the island itself, but the loading station is on the other side of the lake, and it goes underground. And so from the outside, it looks like a ghost train just running around, going wild, going crazy, and it leans into that ghost train, almost spookier aspect to Big Thunder, although it's still Big Thunder. It's not particularly scary. But speaking of that, the storyline ties in somewhat to Phantom Manor. Disneyland Paris's version of the Haunted Mansion is in Frontierland across the water from Big Thunder Mountain. And it's just this awesome tie-in. I'm a big fan, I'm a big nerd when it comes to Disney ride lore and the stories that they hide underneath. And so Big Thunder in Disneyland Paris looks fun, full of immersion, and also, again, fun, I guess, is 2 of the 3 points. So that's number 1 on our list. The number 1 ride in Disneyland Paris, the first one on our list. We're gonna keep going now. Right next door to Disneyland Paris is Disney Studios, which, I hate to say it, but I think there's a pretty general consensus that Disney Studios in Paris is the worst of the Disney theme parks. If you disagree, if you've been there, that's great. I would like it to not be, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard from people who have been there, it's not the most impressive. But that's not to say it doesn't have some really good rides. So my number 1 ride in Disney Studios over in Paris is Ratatouille: The Adventure. I'm typically not a big fan of screen rides. My April Fool's Day joke was Universal Studios stuff, because while I do like Universal Studios, screens on rides are just not it for me. That's not it. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, the Ratatouille ride blends reality with screens pretty flawlessly, and the ride looks like a lot of fun, and it was successful enough to now be brought over to Epcot over in Florida. So I'm excited to ride that someday, whether I do it in Epcot or do it in Paris. The ride looks fantastic. Ratatouille is one of my all-time favorite Pixar movies. It's easy top 3. So to get to ride it looks delightful. And on top of that, it is a trackless ride, which the trackless ride technology has proven itself time and time again. And we don't really have much of it in the US yet. So with this Ratatouille ride coming over, that's very exciting. The ride looks like a ball. You get to be a little rat and you get to run away from Big Chef. And I think Little Rat, Big Chef, Ratatouille, looks fun. So that's number 1 for Disney Studios in Paris. Now we'll fly on over to Disneyland Hong Kong, which is a tiny little park. It's grown a lot since it opened, but it still remains very small, and it doesn't have any neighboring parks in the way that all the other Disney parks, save for Shanghai, do have at least 2 parks sitting side by side. But Disneyland Hong Kong is not lacking in great, unique rides. It has some really cool attractions that have been added over time as the park has gotten to expand. Number 1, if you know anything about Disneyland Hong Kong, I hope this isn't a surprise, and I hope you agree, Mystic Manor looks absolutely phenomenal. It is what is in Disneyland Hong Kong in lieu of the Haunted Mansion. There's no Haunted Mansion over there, but Mystic Manor looks absolutely fantastic. Another trackless ride, first and foremost, but it is really just a showcase of some of the most astounding practical effects that Disney has ever added into rides. Some of the things that you see, even just through video, again, I've never been in person, but some of the gimmicks and the effects that I've seen on the videos of the ride blow me away. It's just so fun and so immersive, and it's one of those lovely, lovely original rides. I know we all, as Disney fans, can kind of tend to yearn for the days before IP rides were on every corner. I personally don't have a problem with IP-based attractions. I've talked about it before. I think it works. I think it's a lot of fun, but I still do love the classics, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion, Big Thunder Mountain, those unique rides that are just Disney park things, or at least were at the time they were built. But Mystic Manor is one of those unique attractions. It has a storyline that you can follow and a world that you can immerse yourself into, but just the ride alone is phenomenal. The videos I've seen have blown my mind, and I can't wait to hopefully ride it someday. So Mystic Manor, #1 ride in Disneyland Hong Kong. We'll make a little hop on over to Disneyland Shanghai, which is the newest of the Disney parks, which that alone is really awesome. I remember first seeing concept models and art for Disneyland Shanghai in Disney's California Adventure. They have that little, what's it called, like the Blue something Cellars Winery, where they showcase some new Imagineering feats, like they had little displays of Cars Land before it opened. But I remember one time seeing Disney Shanghai and being like, wow, in my lifetime they're going to open a new Disney park? Completely disregarding the other Disney parks that have opened in my lifetime. But regardless, Disney Shanghai is the newest, and it is massive. It is a huge park, and I would love to see it someday. But apart from its size, it's currently a little empty, but that's not to say it is missing great rides. There are some really fantastic rides in Disneyland Shanghai, and if you've seen what rides that park holds, or if you've been there yourself, I hope you would agree that the #1 ride in that park is Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, where all the other Pirates of the Caribbean rides in the Disney parks around the world are the Disney original Pirates of the Caribbean, the Shanghai one is built and based off of the movies, so it's very different. It is in many ways a completely different experience than the other Pirates of the Caribbean rides, but it's still a boat, and it's still very cool. It does have a lot of screens. We've already talked with my opinions on screens, but again, it looks phenomenal. Blending massive IMAX-sized screens that border a water ride is so unique. It's such a fresh, cool idea, and the ride looks mind-blowing. There's some effects on that ride. Play that one special effect, Bram. You know the one. How did they? It's amazing. It looks really cool. It looks really fun. I think the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are great, and the ride looks fantastic. So that's #1 in Disneyland Shanghai. We got 2 more parks, and they are both in Tokyo, Japan. First, Disneyland Tokyo is largely a clone of Disneyland California. They are very similar parks with a very similar lineup of rides, but there are some very, very unique experiences to Disneyland Tokyo, which is why my #1 might be a bit surprising to you, but it's what I've seen in video and what people who have been there have agreed with me on. Pooh's Honey Hunt. Not Big Thunder, not one of the big thrill e-ticket attractions that you normally think of as a Disney ride, but Winnie the Pooh, Pooh's Honey Hunt, is far and away the best version of the Winnie the Pooh ride. I think Winnie the Pooh is great. The dark ride in Disneyland is fine. The dark ride in Magic Kingdom is better, but the one in Tokyo looks absolutely phenomenal. The key point being, it's another trackless ride. Are you seeing a pattern here? I love trackless ride technology, and it works very, very well for this particular dark ride. First off, it is a blustery, windy day, so you've got some unpredictable movements, unpredictable motions with the trackless ride, and the special effects are phenomenal. And then there's another scene where you're bouncing with Tigger, and the whole ride vehicle bounces, which is just so fun when the ride vehicle does something unexpected. I absolutely love that. And the best scene is the Heffalumps scene, the madness that is the Heffalumps. It can only portray itself perfectly with that trackless ride technology. We're in the Magic Kingdom and in Disneyland, you can see where you're going, and it's kind of this fun, quirky, weird room. Nothing can compete with the madness of not knowing which way your vehicle's gonna go, and all these different little goofs and gimmicks that are interspersed around the room, and it just looks really fun. So Pooh's Honey Hunt may be an odd choice, but I think it looks absolutely delightful. That is number 1, in my opinion, for Disneyland Tokyo. And last but certainly not least, maybe I should even say, and last but best, Disney Sea in Tokyo. I've talked about this park from time to time. There's nowhere, if I could teleport myself to one place on the entire planet once it's open and running fully functionally and normally again, it would be Disney Sea. This park looks absolutely astounding. It's like what Disney would do if they had unlimited land and unlimited money, thanks to the Oriental Land Company. They kind of have that for Disney Sea. It is an absolutely phenomenal, mind-blowing park. I'm a big sucker for immersion and over-the-top theming. That is what I go to Disney parks primarily for, and Disney Sea looks the best. So again, very hard to pick a ride here, but I think the choice, from someone who's never been there, at least someone who's only seen videos, I think the choice is obvious. The Journey to the Center of the Earth ride takes place in a freaking volcano. This volcano is so outstanding, it makes Expedition Everest look like a little baby mountain. The volcano is kind of the centerpiece for Disney Sea. It's what you see when you enter the park. It erupts throughout the day with smoke and lights, and lots of the park is built around it and into it, not the least of which is the ride Journey to the Center of the Earth itself. The queue is inside. You go in this massive volcano and you go into some mining-esque tunnels, and I have to say, from what I've seen in video, the queue for this ride alone rivals Indiana Jones. If you know me, you know that that is saying something. The immersion is just taken such a step above, going above and beyond, where you enter these tunnels, you get in this elevator and rattle down to a deeper floor, and it looks like you're way far underground. It looks like you're way down there, and you get in these mining vehicle things, and you take off on a ride that is very similar in a lot of ways to Test Track Radiator Springs Racers, in the sense that it starts as a dark ride and ends as a thrill ride, which is a great structure for a ride. But Journey to the Center of the Earth, again, being a completely original thing. I mean, yeah, Journey to the Center of the Earth is an IP, but this ride kind of has nothing at all whatsoever to do with it. You get to see these cool underground glowing fungus and creatures, and it just looks beautiful and eye candy kind of stuff to look at. And then towards the middle end of the ride is the big animatronic monster thing. And right before that, I should say, there's some areas where I believe it's screens, but it looks like you've just found this massive tunnel underground. It looks, at least in video, stunning. I'm sure I'm playing that scene right here in front of my face rather than you seeing my face, and you're saying, wow, that's cool. And then as you approach this monster, there's some real fire, some more over-the-top effects, and this awesome animatronic before your vehicle speeds off and speeds out, part of it peeking above outside of the volcano itself. It looks really fun. I mean, what can I say? It looks like an awesome ride. Disney Sea also has maybe the coolest version of Tower of Terror. Maybe I'll have to do a whole video ranking the Tower of Terror versions amongst a lot of other really cool rides. But Journey to the Center of the Earth takes my vote for the best ride in Disney Sea. I know, once again, it's been a little while since I've uploaded a proper Disneylander, but hopefully there'll be more coming out in the future. I'm not making any promises ever again, but I am excited about Disneyland right now with the announcements of the parks reopening, at least to California residents at the end of April, and so on and so forth. Things are looking up and my enthusiasm is coming back, so stay tuned. If you're not already, if you want to subscribe, that would be fantastic. I kind of upload a little sporadically, so that'll help you stay in touch when there's a new video. And if you want to become part of the community, link down right below to the Disneylander Discord, which is such a fun. Don't be shy. It's such a fun. It is such a fun. Don't be shy. Click it. Sign up. Hop on in the server. It might take a minute or two to get used to how Discord and all the servers work if you haven't used it before. But we have a great active community there. Lots of really cool people that just chat about Disneyland, about movies, about just goofs and gaffs, and have a ball. I'm in there a lot talking. Sometimes I'm in there a lot. I try to be in there a lot. So join that below and tell me in the comments if you've been to any of these 6 parks overseas. What your favorite ride is. And if you haven't been to the parks like me, still tell me, what is the best ride in each of these 6 Disney parks? That's all I got for you today. It's been several years since I started Disneylander. Longer since I've been doing stuff on YouTube, and I still don't know how to end a video. So I'm just gonna wave, and then it's gonna fade out and go to the outro slate. And right now my voice is probably fading out along with the background music, and then that's probably the end of the video.